What is the largest thing in the universe? It's a question that sounds simple, almost playful, like something a child might ask while staring at the stars. But the deeper you chase it, the more it unravels into something horrifying, an intellectual abyss that stretches beyond reason, beyond mathematics, beyond sanity itself. Because when you ask what the largest thing is, you're not really asking about size. You're asking how far existence can stretch before it stops making sense. You're asking whether the universe itself has an edge, or whether infinity is not just a concept but a reality you are trapped inside forever. We are used to size in familiar terms: mountains, oceans, planets, stars, even galaxies, with their hundreds of billions of suns, feel like something the mind can just barely hold. But beyond galaxies lie clusters. Beyond clusters lie superclusters. Beyond them lie walls and filaments that stretch for billions of light years. At each stage, the mind falters. Numbers turn to gibberish. Comparisons fail. And just when you think you've found the limit, the edge of scale, the universe throws something bigger into the equation. The Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall. The concept of dark flow. The unobservable universe. The multiverse. Each one more absurd than the last. Each one erasing the idea of a largest thing and replacing it with something more unsettling. There may be no largest at all. And this is where the fear creeps in. Because to admit that is to admit that the universe is not only vast, but indifferent. That our place in it, our entire history as a species, our civilizations, our triumphs, our sorrows, is nothing. A flicker of static in a cosmic storm that has no end. Yet, we keep asking the question. We keep trying to measure the immeasurable. Not because we believe we'll find a final answer, but because the act of asking is the only rebellion we have against the scale that crushes us. Tonight, we descend into that abyss. We will travel through the largest objects ever found. Galaxies that could swallow ours whole, walls that stretch across billions of light years, and structures so vast they defy the laws of physics themselves. We will wander into the dark corridors of theory, into fractals, voids, and universes beyond our own. And when we emerge, you may not feel comforted, you may not feel larger, but you will feel the weight of the cosmos pressing down on you, and you will never look at the night sky the same way again. Chapter 1. The Giants That Shouldn't Exist. When we ask the question, what is the largest thing in the universe? We are not simply poking at the curiosity of scale. We are clawing at the very edge of human comprehension, forcing our small minds to grapple with measurements so grotesquely large that even the metaphors collapse under their own weight. Imagine light, that supposedly instantaneous messenger of the cosmos, the fastest thing in existence, the absolute upper limit of velocity, still needs billions of years just to cross the distances we are talking about. And yet, astronomers keep stumbling into structures that take those billions of years and stretch them into absurdity. One of the first contenders was the so-called Sloan Great Wall, discovered in 2003, a vast, sheet-like collection of galaxies spanning more than 1.37 billion light-years across. To put that in perspective, if the Milky Way were the size of a grain of rice, this structure would be a continent. Its size alone defies the cosmological principle, the foundational idea that the universe is, on the grandest scales, homogeneous and smooth. A billion light-years should be the upper limit of clumping. And yet here we are, staring at something that casually ignores that rule. Scientists originally thought the Sloan Wall might be the largest possible coherent feature in the observable universe. But the universe was not finished mocking us, because then came the huge large quasar group, huge LQG, identified in 2013, a collection of active galactic nuclei, supermassive black holes devouring matter and blazing like cosmic searchlights, spanning a length of about 4 billion light-years. That's 4,000 times larger than the diameter of our galaxy. These quasars are not evenly scattered as once predicted, but clumped together in ways that should not happen according to standard cosmological simulations. If real, and some still argue about its classification, it would mean the skeleton of the universe is not a neat spider web, but something more chaotic, more monstrous. But the universe saved its cruelest joke for last. The Hercules corona borealis Great Wall, identified through patterns in gamma-ray bursts. This supposed structure stretches to a jaw-dropping 10 billion light-years across. 10 billion. That is more than 2/3 the size of the entire observable universe, which is only about 93 billion light-years wide in diameter. If this wall is real, it is not merely a structure. It is an insult to physics, a violation of the very assumptions that hold modern cosmology together. It suggests that the large-scale architecture of reality is more uneven, more lumpy, more terrifyingly stitched together than we ever dared to imagine. And what exactly are these walls? They are not singular objects like stars or galaxies, but assemblages of assemblages, massive aggregations of galaxies, superclusters and filaments, woven into what looks like cosmic masonry, sheets of luminous matter stretching across the night. Between them lie the great voids, terrifying expanses, hundreds of millions of light-years wide, where nothing dwells but the faint whisper of dark matter and thin hydrogen gas. These walls, filaments and voids together create what scientists call the cosmic web, and when mapped at scale, it eerily resembles the network of neurons in a brain, which raises unsettling philosophical questions. Is the universe itself structured like a living mind? Are these walls its synapses, firing across time and space, connecting regions with flows of matter and gravity? Or are we simply hallucinating patterns into infinity, unable to process the true face of reality? Yet, despite the staggering enormity, the question of largest remains unresolved. Some argue that structures like the Hercules corona borealis wall are statistical anomalies, illusions born of incomplete surveys. Others suggest that if confirmed, it means the universe's fabric is not smooth at all, but a fractured mosaic of incomprehensible pieces. In either case, it forces us to confront something deeply unnerving, that our cosmic neighborhood, the clusters, filaments, galaxies, and voids we map, may be nothing more than one cell in a body so colossal we can never truly perceive its edges. When you look up at the night sky and see the faint smear of the Milky Way, realize this: our galaxy is a trivial, irrelevant thread in the embroidery of a much larger tapestry, a single sparkle trapped inside a wall of light, so vast that it bends the very definition of existence. Chapter 2. Beyond the Walls. Into the Horror of Scale. If the Hercules corona borealis Great Wall really exists, then we are left with a nightmare scenario for cosmology. Structures on that scale should not form in just 13.8 billion years of universal history. The mathematics of gravitational clustering, the models we use to explain how matter fell together after the Big Bang, predict maximum sizes for coherent features. They allow clusters, filaments, and even superclusters, but not something stretching across a quarter of the observable cosmos. If it's real, then either our measurements are wrong, or our theories are. Neither answer is comforting, because if the measurements are wrong, It means our best instruments, the gamma-ray surveys, the redshift maps, the cosmic background data, are misleading us on the grandest scales. And if the theories are wrong, it means the very scaffolding of modern cosmology, dark matter, dark energy, the cosmological principle itself, may be nothing but an approximation, a child's sketch of something far more alien. Let's pause and examine the weight of such a possibility. A 10 billion light-year structure implies the universe has preferred directions, preferred alignments, fractures in its smoothness. This is known as anisotropy, and it undermines the cherished notion that the universe looks the same everywhere when averaged out. If anisotropy exists, then the Big Bang may not have been uniform. Inflation, the rapid expansion that supposedly smoothed the cosmos in its infancy, might have left behind scars, regions of excess density, stitched into the fabric of space-time itself. And if that is true, then these enormous walls may be nothing less than fossils of inflation, imprints of physics so exotic that even string theory trembles before it. Imagine entire corridors of the universe, imprinted with denser-than-average matter at birth, cosmic birthmarks that grew into grotesque megastructures, still haunting us billions of years later. But the horror goes deeper. If such structures exist, then what about the voids in between them? These are not mere gaps, but cosmic abysses, some larger than any single wall. Take the Boötes void, 330 million light-years wide, with fewer than 60 galaxies scattered through it. If you placed our Milky Way inside, you could travel hundreds of millions of years at light speed before hitting another galaxy. Now scale that up to the gaps between these titanic walls. There could be regions so utterly barren that no light, no matter, no structure whatsoever exists, for billions of light-years at a stretch, an infinity of black nothingness, punctuated by impossible walls of light. To live in such a universe is to live inside a cosmic prison, caught between bars made of galaxies and gulfs made of silence. Some cosmologists speculate that these structures are not even the largest at all. They may simply be the visible edge of something greater, hints of structures beyond the observable horizon, fragments of a pattern that continues endlessly into the unseeable. If that is true, then the universe itself may be fractal. No upper limit to size, just larger and larger patterns, repeating forever, from galaxies to walls, to something else we do not yet have words for. And if fractal, then we are doomed to forever ask, where does it end? Does it end at all? Or are we trapped in an infinite recursion of walls within walls, voids within voids, with no scale ever truly largest? Now consider the psychological impact of this truth. We are not ants staring at skyscrapers. We are atoms trapped inside a structure larger than thought itself. To even define the largest thing in the universe may be impossible, because our minds collapse long before the mathematics does. And yet, the pursuit of this question reveals something frightening but beautiful. The universe is not built for our comfort, nor our comprehension. Its scale is meant to crush us, and yet we keep asking anyway. And in that asking, in the audacity to measure the immeasurable, we find a strange kind of victory. For in every wall, every void, every incomprehensible distance, we see not just emptiness, but the vast, terrifying playground of reality itself, stretching out beyond us, like a riddle that was never meant to be solved. Chapter 3. The Fractal Abyss. There is a strange suspicion gnawing at cosmology, a whisper born not from evidence but from pattern. What if the universe is fractal? In mathematics, a fractal is a shape that repeats itself at every scale. Zoom in on a coastline, and the jaggedness of the beach resembles the jaggedness of the continent. Zoom in again, and the same rough geometry reveals itself endlessly. Some physicists wonder if the universe works the same way. Galaxies form clusters. Clusters form superclusters. Superclusters form walls. Walls stretch into filaments. And filaments, perhaps, are just threads in something larger, still unseen. Imagine peering out with instruments more powerful than the James Webb Space Telescope, mapping beyond our 93 billion light-year observable bubble, and finding that these largest structures are merely nodes in an infinite lattice. No top, no bottom, just scale after scale, a hall of mirrors without end. The unsettling thing about this idea is that fractals have no true largest feature. If the cosmos is fractal, then the Hercules corona borealis Great Wall is not an ultimate boundary, but a single cell in a never-ending organism. We might believe we've mapped the outer reaches of the web, but in truth, we may be like microbes on a speck of dust, declaring the grain of sand beneath us to be the entire beach. Even worse, if the universe is fractal, then infinity is no longer abstract. It is real, it is structured, and it means that asking what is the largest thing is like asking what is the last number. There isn't one. Every time you think you've arrived at the biggest possible scale, the universe peels back another layer, revealing that the abyss is deeper, sharper, and crueler than we imagined. And there is another dimension to this terror. Consciousness. Our brains, when imaged in scans, reveal networks of neurons astonishingly similar to the cosmic web. The universe itself looks brain-like. Not metaphorically, but mathematically. This fractal similarity has led some to speculate that perhaps the cosmos itself is a kind of thinking entity, and that our existence within it is more than coincidence. But if true, then what does that make us? Tiny electrical impulses inside the mind of an unfathomable being, condemned never to perceive the full scope of the consciousness we are trapped inside? Or worse, what if these walls and filaments are not neurons but scars, stress fractures in the fabric of reality, hints that the universe itself may be unstable, collapsing or mutating on timescales far beyond our comprehension? The fractal abyss forces us to face a paradox. The more we zoom out, the less we understand, and the closer we come to the realization that largest may not even exist. Chapter 4. Dark Flow and the Pull of the Unknown. Even if we accept the cosmic web as the largest visible thing, something darker lurks at the edge of observation. Astronomers studying the movement of galaxy clusters noticed something peculiar, an unexplained, coherent drift known as dark flow. Entire clusters of galaxies, billions of stars bound together, seem to be moving in the same direction, as if being tugged toward something far beyond the observable universe. The speed of this drift is staggering, hundreds of kilometers per second, across distances so immense they should have smoothed out long ago. Yet the motion persists. The implication is horrifying. If matter within the observable universe is being dragged, then there must be something outside, something massive, perhaps larger than any great wall or supercluster we've ever mapped, pulling it all like a black tide. Some theories suggest it could be the gravitational influence of a superstructure beyond the horizon, one so colossal that it dwarfs even the Hercules corona borealis wall. Others whisper more radical ideas, that this pull is not from a structure at all, but from an entirely separate universe, leaking into ours like a gravitational shadow. If true, then our universe is not a sealed bubble, but one pocket in a sea of universes, each tugging on the others like colossal icebergs, drifting in a cosmic ocean. What would that mean for scale? It would mean that asking what is the largest thing, the real answer may lie outside our universe entirely, in regions we can never observe, but only feel through the trembling motions of galaxy clusters, obeying a force we cannot see. The scariest possibility is that dark flow is permanent, that it will continue forever, dragging everything toward an unseen doom. Galaxies, superclusters, walls and voids, all flowing toward a point outside of time and space. Where are we going? What lies in that direction? Some imagine a great attractor, a megastructure of unimaginable scale, dense beyond comprehension, a kind of cosmic predator pulling in everything nearby. Others argue it is a mirage, a statistical fluke, a phantom in the data. But if real, it could mean that the true, largest thing in the universe is not within the observable bubble at all, but beyond it, an invisible leviathan of matter and gravity, shaping our destiny from outside the cosmic stage. If so, then we are not just spectators of the universe. We are passengers, moving blindly toward an unknown and unstoppable future. Chapter 5. The Architecture of the Infinite. Perhaps the most terrifying idea of all is that the largest thing in the universe is the universe itself, and that even this is not the end of the story. The observable cosmos is already incomprehensibly vast, 93 billion light-years across, containing at least 2 trillion galaxies, each with hundreds of billions of stars. But this is only what we can see. Beyond the particle horizon lies the unobservable universe, which could be hundreds, thousands, or even infinitely larger. Our telescopes cannot touch it. Our mathematics can only hint at it, and yet its existence is unavoidable. To admit this is to accept that every largest structure we name, the Sloan wall, the huge LQG, the Hercules corona borealis wall, is merely a local feature in an expanse so boundless it mocks the very word scale. But if the universe is infinite, then what does largest mean? Infinity has no edges, no limits, no maximum. It is not a number, but a condition, a place where our logic fails. Some physicists believe the universe is flat and infinite, stretching endlessly without boundary, an eternal quilt of cosmic web, walls, voids, and filaments repeating forever. Others propose a multiverse, a bubbling foam of countless universes, each one as vast and varied as our own, with laws of physics that may not even resemble ours. If this is true, then the largest thing is not our universe, but the multiverse itself, a metastructure containing not billions of galaxies, but billions of universes. Each universe could have its own great walls, its own voids, its own horrors of scale repeating endlessly in dimensions we cannot even conceive. Here lies the final speculation. What if this architecture is not random? What if the colossal structures we see, walls, webs, flows, are the signature of design, not in the sense of a divine craftsman, but of physics itself, laws so alien that they create universes like patterns in frost, universes that grow walls the size of billions of light years, as naturally as a crystal grows edges. In this sense, the largest thing may not be a structure at all, but a process, the machinery of reality, endlessly spinning out scales, larger than imagination. And if so, then the scariest truth of all is this: there is no largest thing, because the universe itself is an infinite workshop of creation, and we are trapped inside it, ants in a cathedral so large that we can never even see the walls. So what, in the end, is the largest thing in the universe? Is it the red supergiant star, swollen to 1,000 suns across, the galaxy whose halo stretches for 1,000,000 light-years, the filaments and walls woven from billions of galaxies into structures that span billions of light-years? Or is it the invisible currents of dark flow, tugging us toward an unseen abyss outside our cosmic horizon? The terrifying truth is that every answer collapses beneath a larger one. Each time we crown a new titan, the universe laughs and reveals an even greater monstrosity. What we thought of as boundaries, galaxies, walls, even the observable universe itself, are not edges but stepping stones into an ever-expanding abyss of scale. The walls we can see, like the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall, possibly 10 billion light-years across, already threaten to break the rules of physics. And yet, even they may be nothing more than local wrinkles on the fabric of something larger, structures that vanish into irrelevance when compared to the possibility of an infinite fractal universe, or worse, a multiverse stretching endlessly beyond our perception. If infinity is real, then the largest thing is an illusion, a question with no answer, because there will always be something bigger, always another layer, always another horizon, mocking our attempts to measure it. Perhaps the most unsettling part is not the enormity itself, but what it means for us. Every scale we discover shrinks us further, reducing our existence to less than dust. The Milky Way, once thought majestic beyond comparison, is just a thread in a wall. That wall, perhaps, is just a scar in a greater web. That web, perhaps, a filament in a structure that sprawls across universes. We are not even small. We are negligible. Our entire history, every civilization, every story, is less than a flicker of static in the endless machinery of creation. And yet, here we are, daring to ask, daring to measure, daring to imagine. In the end, the largest thing in the universe may not be a structure at all. It may be the silence that comes when you realize there is no edge, no center, no maximum, only an infinite cascade of scales, each more monstrous than the last. The largest thing is not a star, or a galaxy, or even a wall. The largest thing is the universe's indifference itself, an endless abyss that swallows meaning, swallows size, swallows comprehension. And still we look up, still we chart, still we name these monsters, even as they grow beyond measure. Because in that act of defiance, in daring to ask the impossible question, humanity claims a place, not in size, not in power, but in courage. And so we close with the only answer we can truly give. The largest thing in the universe is the universe itself, vast beyond measure, cruel in its silence, infinite in its scale. And the most terrifying truth of all is this: we will never see the end of it.